For a deep dive today, we're going deep into the world of politics.
That's right. It's a big one.
It is. We're talking about Susie Wiles, the new chief of staff for Donald Trump.
Big news. Yep.
It is big news because
Historic.
she is the first woman to ever hold this position.
Right.
So
huge.
This is huge. And our main source today is an article from IJR, which, leans conservative. So we always like to, just put that out there so people understand where the information is coming from.
Right. Always good to know.
Exactly.
No perspective.
Yeah, the perspective.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Susie Wiles is the new chief of staff. Big deal. What does that even mean for people who maybe aren't political experts?
Yeah. So, the chief of staff is essentially the president's right-hand person.
Okay.
They're the gatekeepers. They decide who gets to talk to the president. They manage the president's schedule. They really have a huge influence on the president's decision-making process.
It's a powerful position.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Really important.
This is not a random person that he chose. And,
Absolutely not.
It is announced right after Trump's victory speech in West Palm Beach, Florida on November 6th. So, fresh off a win, it seems like he really wants a trusted person in this role.
Right. This is someone that he clearly trusts and relies on.
Yeah. And the article we're looking at calls her the Ice Baby. What do you make of that expert speaker?
Oh, that's a great nickname, the Ice Baby. I think it speaks to her demeanor.
Okay.
She's known for being very cool, calm, and collected under pressure.
I can see that, yeah.
And that's a valuable trait to have in such a high-pressure role.
Especially in politics, yeah.
Absolutely. And this is not her first rodeo either. She's been involved in politics for a long time, going all the way back to 1980 when she was scheduling for Ronald Reagan's campaign.
Wow, Reagan. Okay.
Yeah, so she's been around the block.
So she's seen a lot.
A lot of changes in the political landscape.
So what else is on her resume?
Yeah.
Fill us in.
Well, after Reagan, she went on to manage Rick Scott's successful gubernatorial campaign in Florida in 2010.
Okay.
And then, of course, she headed up Trump's Florida campaigns in both 2016 and 2020.
Okay, Florida. I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah, she's got a strong connection to Florida.
I'm like, she's the queen of Florida politics or something.
Well, and that's important because Florida is a key swing state.
Right.
It's often the state that decides presidential election.
Makes sense. It's a big state, diverse population.
Exactly. And she's won there 3 times, which is no small feat.
That's pretty impressive.
Very impressive. It shows that she really understands how to connect with voters in that state.
It seems like she has a knack for understanding what makes voters tick, especially in a place as diverse and, let's be honest, sometimes a little wacky as Florida.
Right. It's a unique state.
It is. So, it seems like Trump clearly sees her success in Florida as a sign that she can bring that same magic to the White House.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
So is she going to bring that Florida magic to the White House? What do you think?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Well, it's an interesting question because Florida's a pretty unique place.
Yeah. How so?
Well, it's often seen as kind of a microcosm of the whole U.S.,
Okay, interesting.
You've got this very diverse population, a blend of urban and rural areas, and a history of being really politically unpredictable.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a mini America down there.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And Wiles has a proven track record of navigating those complexities.
Right, winning elections there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not just presidential elections.
Yeah, she also managed Rick Scott's campaign for governor back in 2010.
That's right. So she's got experience at the state level, too.
Which is huge, because that means she understands more than just national politics.
Absolutely. It suggests a deep understanding of how to tailor messages to specific audiences.
And how to predict how certain policies will actually play out on the ground.
Yeah.
So her Florida experience isn't just about winning one state.
Right.
It's about understanding how to win in a place that's kind of like a mini version of the whole country.
Yeah, it's a valuable perspective.
Very valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's not forget the elephant in the room, or should I say, the donkey in the room.
What's up?
Susie Wiles is the first woman to ever hold this position.
That's right. It's a historic appointment.
It is historic.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, on the one hand, it's obviously a huge step forward for women in politics.
Yeah, I can imagine young women watching this and thinking, hey, I can do that too.
Absolutely. Representation matters.
It does.
It's about changing the narrative, creating a more inclusive political landscape.
But it's not just symbolic.
No, she's not just a symbol.
She's a person with her own beliefs and a long history of working within the Republican Party.
Exactly. And her appointment may not be universally celebrated.
Right. Some people might view it with skepticism.
Sure, they might question her motivations or her alignment with certain political ideologies.
It's a reminder that progress isn't always a straight line, right?
That's right. There will be different perspectives and interpretations of this event.
It's important to have those conversations, though.
Absolutely. Thoughtful and nuanced discussions are crucial.
Okay, so speaking of implications, this whole thing has me thinking about the future of the Republican Party, you know?
Okay.
Do you think this signals any kind of shift in their approach to women in leadership roles?
That's a great question.
It's the million-dollar question.
It is, and it's one we'll have to watch closely in the coming months and years.
Right. Is this a one-off, or is it the start of something bigger?
Exactly.
Well, I'm intrigued. I'm going to be watching this very closely. But tell me, what do you think about Wiles' leadership style? We talked about that nickname, the Ice Baby, earlier, you know.
Right.
How do you think that's going to play out in the White House?
Well, it certainly suggests a certain level of composure, maybe even a detachment, you know, which could be beneficial in a high-pressure environment like the White House.
Because the chief of staff has to manage a huge team, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And navigate all sorts of complex political situations.
Keep the whole ship running smoothly.
Exactly.
So maybe Ice Baby is exactly what Trump needs right now.
Maybe. But it's also worth considering how that demeanor might be perceived by others.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Will she be seen as aloof or unapproachable?
Yeah.
Or will it be interpreted as strength and decisiveness?
Right, because perception is everything in politics.
Absolutely. And how she's perceived will likely shape how effective she is in the role.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about her Florida experience, the historical significance of her appointment,
Right.
and even her potential leadership style.
Yeah.
What else should we be paying attention to as this story unfolds?
I think a key thing to watch is how her appointment might influence the Trump administration's approach to certain key issues. Yeah, like what kind of issues are we talking about?
Yeah, give us some examples.
Well, you know, given her experience in Florida, I think it's reasonable to assume she'll have a pretty strong voice on issues like immigration,
Okay.
healthcare, even climate change.
Makes sense. Those are all big issues. And
Huge. Yeah, especially climate change. Florida's right on the front lines of that.
we're really all on the front line.
Yeah, exactly. And so her understanding of how those issues resonate with voters in a swing state, that could be really valuable to the Trump administration.
So maybe she can kind of help bridge the gap between the different sides, you know?
It's possible, but, you know, we also have to remember that she's a Republican operative.
Right. She's not going to suddenly become a Democrat.
Exactly. She has a history of supporting conservative policies.
Right. But maybe, just maybe, she can bring a fresh perspective, you know?
It's possible.
Help the administration craft policies that appeal to a broader range of Americans.
We'll have to see how it all plays out.
We will. But thinking more broadly, I'm wondering how her appointment might impact the Republican Party as a whole.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like in terms of women in leadership roles.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Exactly. Will this be a turning point for the GOP, or will it remain an outlier?
Yeah. Are we going to see more women stepping up to run for office?
Taking on leadership positions within the party. These are all questions that we'll have to wait and see the answers to.
Time will tell.
It'll be fascinating to watch this all unfold, though. It's not just about one woman, it's about the potential ripple effects of her appointment.
It's like throwing a pebble into a pond and watching those waves spread out.
Exactly. And we're all here on the shore observing and analyzing those ripples.
Well said. This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive. Expert speaker. I always learn so much from these conversations.
The pleasure's all mine, really. And I hope our listeners are feeling just as energized and engaged.
Me too. And to our listeners, if you're as intrigued by this as we are, we encourage you to keep digging, you know?
Absolutely.
Read different perspectives.
Yeah.
Form your own opinions.
Don't be afraid to challenge your own assumptions.
Yeah, because that's what the deep dive is all about. It's not about giving you the answers. It's about giving you the tools to think critically.
And engage in meaningful conversations.
Absolutely. Well said. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive.
Thank good.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of the ideas shaping our world.